Welcome today on the third episode.
Woo!
Woo! 3 episodes of The Bar is Ankle High. We are going to talk about poor time management, time blindness, procrastination. There's a few different names for it. Before we do get started, if you heard our last episode, there was a bit of a debate about the finale of Sleepless in Seattle. And I have gotten the answer to our question.
Oh, you did?
I did. So
that's nice, because I completely forgot about it, so
yeah.
I did not look it up.
Yep, I did. I did at the last moment. Remember to Google it.
Did they go to the Eiffel Tower?
So if you heard our last episode, episode 2, we were talking about disorganization. We also thematically covered disorganized thinking.
Nailed it.
One of the things that came up that really had nothing to do with anything, we were talking about Sleepless in Seattle. And in the finale, Katie said that they met at the Eiffel Tower.
I misspoke. I knew I misspoke.
I immediately corrected myself to the Empire State Building. Katie did. I thought they met at the Space Needle because it's Sleepless in Seattle. Katie was correct. It was the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
Empire State Building. I don't know why my inflection on that was so strange, but it was the Empire State Building. So I just wanted to make sure we took care of that before we...
So rest easy, listeners. We will, one of us, perhaps, remember to answer questions that we've asked ourselves.
Let's rephrase that. We might remember, potentially.
Between the two of us, someone will probably remember.
Someone might remember.
And we usually have access to Wi-Fi, so...
Yeah, usually.
And pause buttons.
Oh, yeah. I guess we could have done that. We didn't. So anyway, there's your answer. So today, poor time management, time blindness, procrastination. This is something I know I personally was a professional procrastinator as a student. I was really good at putting things off until the last minute. I do avoid things a little bit now.
Do you want to hear how lawyers reframe procrastination?
I do! That's great. I love a good reframe.
Hi, I'm Katie, and I am deadline-oriented.
Deadline-oriented. 5 stars. That's excellent. I like that.
Yeah, that's how I say that in interviews. I'm deadline-oriented.
I thrive
get everything
on it
done at the last minute.
And also hate it at the same time.
Yeah, it is crippling. And yet the only way I can do
It's a strength. It's a weakness. It's everything in between.
Yeah.
So this issue with time management, they kind of broken into like 2 primary issues. The problem with executive function, which we've talked about a couple of times, and a poor working memory. And those 2 things kind of feed the chaotic gravy train of time blindness and poor time management. So people with issues with executive function tend to have difficulty planning things, especially when it's something long term and you've got something you're working towards, because the now is so much more exciting. You've got things pulling your attention that are right in front of you as opposed to a delayed gratification down the road. Mm-hmm. Trouble organizing materials, setting schedules, which is what we covered in our last episode. We talked a lot about disorganization. Trouble controlling emotions or impulses, which is going to, we'll also talk about emotional dysregulation. And impulsivity. I mean, really, it's these executive function issues are what drives a lot of the symptoms.
I think that's part of why I took so long to get diagnosed, because there's so, like, the Venn diagram that makes up all the symptoms of ADHD, there's, like, so much overlap. So it's almost, like, it's so difficult as somebody with it to really parse out how to address my struggles with the disorder, that it's like, okay, we'll make a to-do list, but I struggle with just making the to-do list because, like, my brain is telling me, like, it's cool, I'll remember it. And
lies I tell myself.
Yes.
I'll remember that.
Or, like, especially with cleaning, I find that a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, especially before I was medicated, it's like I'd, take my dish towels to put into the laundry so that I could do laundry later, and then I go into the bathroom because I'm going to get my bath hand towels and my bath towel for the shower and put that in the laundry as well and do all my towels at once, But then when I'm in the bathroom, I realize I need to clean the tub, and then, oh, while I'm in here, I have the Lysol out. I'll just clean the sink too, and now I'll clean the toilet, and oh, that reminds me, since I have the Lysol out, I should go and clean the kitchen sink as well. And so nothing ever is completely cleaned. I'm just bouncing from thing to thing. But that's the executive function issue of ADHD, where it's the follow through on tasks that
seeing something
through.
One of the other items they talked about, which I've always noticed about myself, is difficulty analyzing and processing information. Like when I feel like sometimes, and working memory is another part of this issue. One of the ways I saw working memory described, which it totally plays into this analyzing and processing information. And I'll have to find where I got it so I can source who had this analogy. But it was like having a shelf. Like your working memory is a shelf of things that you have to have like handy.
Okay.
That you need to have to reference. And neurotypical people have a very long shelf of things that they can just keep readily available to themselves to hang on to.
Okay.
When you have ADHD, you have a short shelf. So the things that can fit on there, you have a lot fewer items. And then when there's something more interesting, one of the items falls off.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which I thought was a good description of it, because I do feel like I can remember things.
What's that song, like nursery rhyme, like they all rolled over and one fell out.
Oh yeah.
4 in the bed and the little one said, "Roll over, roll over." I don't know what the name of the song is. You know what I'm? Do you know it? I know it's not a Gravy Train situation. It's a real song. I think it was the We Sing in Sillyville movie. Did you ever watch that?
No.
Oh, it was, I mean, obviously a straight to VHS situation.
So, Sillyville, I just want to be clear, is different from Busy Town.
Obviously.
With the worm in the car, in the Apple car.
Yes.
Okay. Silly Town's a different place.
Sillyville.
Sillyville. Busy Town.
I bet it's on YouTube. We'll find it. When we're done recording, we'll look it up.
Stay tuned. In our next episode, we will cover Sillyville.
We'll follow up and let you know what happens in Sillyville. Yeah, so it was like a puppet reenactment sort of situation, but they looked like little peas in a pea pod.
Okay.
And so there's like a little pea at the end, and they're all like lined up
Yep.
against the pillows, and they're like, and one rolled over, and
okay.
they all rolled over, and one fell out.
Right.
But it's the same.
Yeah,
It sounds
I
like
have
it's the same
this,
thing. Yeah.
This
and then you're left
available
with this
space.
one single hyperfixation.
Yes.
Until you get bored of that.
And everything else is falling off my shelf, and I'm like, what is happening? What do I have to do?
That's a great analogy, though.
I thought that was really good.
Yeah, that's super apt. Or even if, like, rather than one long shelf, it's like an actual bookshelf. So, like, I still have all those things. They're just not at eye level.
And then if they're not at eye level, they
right,
don't
out
exist.
of sight, out of mind.
Yes.
And so, like, then I have to go digging for it way more than a neurotypical person would.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then I get distracted along the way.
Yes.
It's quite a cycle. It's exhausting. Yeah. So that was one of the things that they kept going back to. Like, the now is more compelling than whatever's on that shelf.
Yeah.
It's almost like, fuck that shelf. Look at this instead.
Yeah, that was something
All the
I
time.
found in my impulsivity research.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about next week. So come back for more fun facts about that.
I noticed it a lot. So there's been a couple times where I've worked like festivals, markets, things like that, where you have to have prices of things in your head and doing quick math. And it's not that I'm incapable of doing quick math. Remembering the prices of different items that I'm not familiar with. Like, these aren't items that are my items that I'm selling, and I know how much they are. I'm like helping somebody out, and keeping that information, right? And people are asking me prices, trying to total things out. It is a nightmare for me.
Oh, see, I can handle that. Because I feel like I compartmentalize it.
Yeah.
So then, like, for that time, like, I'm going to be the best price giver you've ever met in your life.
That's a dream. That's a dream
I was a dream worker at Dunkin' Donuts and Panera.
Oh, I bet.
In my ute.
In my ute. I was so good at it. So one of the things that they said is people that have ADHD use external aids for working memory, which, planners, calendars, notebooks, I'm the queen of.
There's 4 notebooks that I can see from where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
Only one of them is mine.
One, two, three. Yep. Yep. Actually, there's that shelf right there is just notebooks. It's just if you look over in the corner.
Oh yeah,
that's
look
all
at that.
notebooks. Yep.
Holy shit! It's like
Yep.
a notebook graveyard.
My spouse and I both really love getting a fresh notebook for something, and then
Oh my god, I love it. I actually do have 2 blank notebooks for journaling.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm not even halfway through my current journal.
Oh yeah, it's just it's like I got to be ready with like 6 notebooks at any
I just
time.
love a good notebook.
I do too.
Back to school shopping season was like my favorite, right?
Didn't want to go to school. I liked the structure. Ultimately, I did better with the structure. I liked seeing my friends all the time. But that week before going back to school, miserable.
Oh, I
didn't want to go back to getting up early.
I was so fucking hyped to go back.
I wanted to go back to school.
I wanted
shopping.
to use all my new stuff, all my new colored pencils. My backpack
Crayons.
was so perfectly put together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My clothes were all laid out, what I was going to wear for the whole first week of school, because we had our school pictures like on like day 7 of school. Like we had them so early.
Oh, ours were like in the fall.
I mean, technically. But
we also couldn't lay outfits out because we were in uniforms.
Oh, yeah. No, I was public school, so.
And then when I went to public school, I wore jeans and a band t-shirt on Converse every day.
I wore jeans and a hoodie every day, and I was the thinnest I've been, so.
And hated myself the most.
Horrible.
Yeah.
But,
awful.
Yeah, no, oh my God, I loved it. I loved it.
Back to school shopping, I loved.
Any organizational tool, I am always so on board with and so excited, and then I never use it.
Yeah, I,
partly because my time management style has nothing to do with the organizational tools for neurotypical people. I think is really what my problem is.
Right.
Like, I'm very aspirational in my organizational.
I usually have a hard time because the planners aren't organized the way I want them to be.
Oh, I'm very picky with my planners.
Yes. And I actually, I've never been a journaler really, but I keep all of my planners. So I have all of my, like, planners and calendars from the last, like, 10 years that I just keep because I think it's, like, kind of interesting to flip through and, like, see what my schedule was like at different points.
Okay.
And, but I always am like struggling because it's not laid out the way my like brain needs it to be laid out.
I'm so opposite. I have every journal I've ever had since 4th grade, and I immediately toss out my day planners. The only thing I keep is the pages in the back where I write down all my passwords and usernames for everything. Please, Jesus, if you're listening, don't steal my planner.
Don't steal my planner because I'll combust.
That's mean.
We said be nice. I know I do have trouble keeping myself on task. I can get a lot done, and I have a hard time with it because I think procrastination gets chalked up to laziness. I think a lot of people have that association.
Totally. Because it's so easy to, I think the reaction is always just focus.
Just do it. Just get it done. Wouldn't you feel better if you got it done?
Absolutely.
100%.
Beside the point, though.
Yeah. But you know what I could do? I could not do it and then be anxious about it for the days until I do it.
Yeah. Like, and that was part of what really pushed me to get a diagnosis, because I was going up against my deadlines for work every time.
Yeah.
And
you're like,
why
am
am
I
weeks
living this
where
way?
I had 8 or 9 appeals due in a single 5-day period.
Right.
And so in that situation, I was pushing up against the deadline, and a day where I had 3 different appeals due, I can do 1 appeal in a day, usually, if it's just a reply, but to do 3 of them in a day, I knew I wasn't doing them as well as I could have, and as well as I would have if I had better time management.
Right.
And that was the thing where I was like, I said to my doctor, I was like, it didn't matter before when I was in a different department, but it for sure affected me in my past 2 private sector jobs, and now in what I do in the public sector, it is critical that I don't manage my time that way. And so for me, being medicated is so much more helpful. And my therapist, shout out Jessica,
Right.
that to-do list hack that she gave me is very helpful when I find that it's like when I'm getting really overwhelmed by how much I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
My time management goes right out the window.
Yeah, it definitely, And it's like such a catch-22 because I'll avoid it or I'll put it off because I'm either not sure how to approach it or I'm not sure how I want to do something
Yes.
or how to handle it. So if I'm not sure, I will kind of kick it around and
'Cause
avoid
it's
it
like
a
that
little
decision
bit.
thing we were talking about.
Yes,
Like,
which again,
I
I'm
need
decisive.
to process. Yes.
But that time where I'm like, or if I don't feel like I've gotten clear direction on something, I will totally kick it down the road, which then just makes me more anxious.
Totally.
And then I have to do something at the last minute, and then I'm flustered, and because I immediately, when I'm under pressure, I just don't function well. So I really try, and like in my personal life, always gear things in a way that's like making things easy for myself.
Yes. And in my
Every other
personal life,
aspect.
yeah, I feel like I think part of the reason that I like, as we discussed in the last episode, I really cherish my alone time and
Same, yeah.
need advance notice if I'm supposed to go out with people or socialize beyond my standard schedule of socializing. Part of that reason is because in my personal life, I schedule my time so that I have time to process and figure out how I want to deal with every situation. Even if it's just a matter of like, okay, I'm going to golf on Sunday. Saturday's weather's going to be terrible. So I need to get my grocery shopping done on Saturday. I also need to do 2 loads of laundry. And I want to do some meal prepping, get my overnight oats done, and like thinking about the order that I want to do those things in,
Right.
so that it makes the most sense and is more efficient, because I don't want to do all my meal prep after I did all my dishes and then have to do dishes again.
Right.
I don't want to do all my laundry and then go out and do a whole bunch of other things that then dirties up a whole bunch of other laundry or whatever.
It is. It's like spinning plates.
Yes.
Trying to get stuff done.
So, like, I feel like in my personal life, I'm much better at spreading those things out so
me
that I
too.
can make those decisions in my time. But at work, we don't have that flexibility.
Yeah. Oh, it's
and I think that
maddening.
really struggle. And also, I mean, in interpersonal relationships, like, our partners are not on the same schedule as us all the time.
Right.
So
Right.
sometimes they need a more efficient response than what we're...
Well, I was thinking 15 minutes later, okay, so what was the plan for this?
Do you feel a lot of guilt? Do you ever, like, if PK asks me to do something, I feel a lot of guilt if I'm like, can I just let you know? Like, I just need to... Because it's just a matter of, like, thinking about it. Like, the answer is yes. I just want to think about it before I'm actually, like, on the record for saying yes or whatever.
I think we encounter it more. He'll be like, hey, I want you to listen to this. And sometimes I literally have to look at him like, I am not in a receptive mood to something like that. I'm not, like, I'm either too tired or, like, I'm going to tune out. So bring it up to me. Or can we talk about this tomorrow when I've slept or done this or done that?
I got to get better at doing that with PK because so often he's like, remember when I was telling you? Nope.
Nope, don't remember that. Don't recall. We didn't have that conversation. It was Sean Connery, of course.
Welcome to my gravy train. Led Zeppelin.
Oh my god. That was something else. One of the things that I do, again, in my sometimes excessive organization, which is really to combat things like this, I have alarms set for when I have to get up, when I have to leave. On the mornings that I'm going into the office, I have a alarm that I snooze. So every 9 minutes, I get another alarm that's telling me what time it is so that I stay on task and I know about where I should be in my routine when each of those alarms go off. And I also make myself to-do lists. I would say the best example is Thanksgiving. I have a spreadsheet that has shopping list categories, menu, and a day-by-day schedule the week of all the things I need to do on that day. And then the day of Thanksgiving and the day before Thanksgiving, there is a list with timestamps in the order that I need to do them. So that
I handle Thanksgiving very differently.
If only you could see the look on Katie's face right now of sheer panic.
It's like imagine a possum in a trap that's about to be
A lot of hissing.
relocated. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more a means of survival, and I also because things do get chaotic, I don't want to have to think about anything. I don't want to have to go, okay, so I have to do before I can do this, I have to do this. So I avoid it entirely by making myself a list that has timestamps on it of when I need to be doing things. I even do that like if I have to leave somewhere, okay, I have to be here by this time, which means I have to leave by this time, which means I have to be in the shower by this time. And walk my way all the way back, which gives me, okay, I have 45 minutes to do this. I have another 20 minutes to do that. And that is how I live my life every every step of the way.
Your anxiety is really well managed.
So, raw dog in life is really good for me.
You're doing great, sweetie.
You're killing it. One of the things I did read is they said procrastination is the inability to tune out what is causing you to feel things and to just do a task. So the feeling that you have associated with the task, you can't tune out. So it dictates whether or not the task gets done. Which kind of goes back to that self-regulation where, moods, emotions, time, energy is just like a battle, like every day to day. Because you'll go into, one of the things they said is I gotta find it. Is
that related to the issues with dopamine and norepinephrine receptors and producers? Like, I have this feeling, but there's nowhere for this feeling to go because my receptors aren't taking that
it could be.
from my brain.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to check.
Hey, if you're a researcher in this, let us know. Shoot us an email at thebarsinklehigh@gmail.com. Tell me if I'm accidentally a genius.
Tell me if I just blew the lid off of ADHD.
Did I figure it out? I cured it. I'm the curist.
Maybe. Let us know.
Now I'm 2 types of doctors.
Not just words.
I'm not even a law doctor no more.
One of the things they said that I was reading, I watched a video that was very helpful, and I also read a couple articles off that Attitude mag online, which was very helpful. And in the video that I watched, which we will link, they were saying that it's intention deficit disorder. So, like, it doesn't matter what you wanted to do. Because if you've got something that's pulling you in a different direction, it's like
Are you saying intention or inattention?
Intention.
Okay.
So, an inability to, like, organize around what your intention is. So they said, like, oh, today, like, I'm going to go into the day, like, I'm not going to.
That explains
totally
why
distracted.
I really struggled in yoga when the instructor was always like, set your intention for the day. And I was like, wah! I don't know what that means!
Screaming at the ceiling, yelling out, hey, what do you mean? Can you elaborate on that?
Meanwhile, I'm like tapping my foot in corpse pose or whatever.
Savasana, and Katie's just like tense,
the
jittery.
Worst corpse. That's what I am.
I'm the most active corpse they've had.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling.
So they said that in procrastination, because it's not just like getting started, but also keeping going. One of the things was to just break tasks into like smaller and smaller pieces until you're willing to start, which to me is making a to-do list and putting on my to-do list that I have to like make a comprehensive to-do list.
No more than 5 tasks or else you fail.
Yeah, we're throwing that advice from last episode out, by the way. That's right in the garbage.
Yeah, with
5
the recipes
items.
we cut out.
Yeah. What? And the stamps that no, we're just kidding. We're not throwing out the stamps because they're too expensive.
It's like have a partner with you to lick stamps. Or whatever the fucking tip was.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Ridiculous.
I will get self-adhesive stamps and put them on an envelope myself, thank you. In the privacy of my own home. So yeah, that was a piece of advice, along with having planners and calendars, which I feel like we've all heard at least a million times.
You have a planner and a calendar, even if you don't like how it's organized. Do you use it consistently?
I do. I actually won't even schedule anything until I have it in front of me.
Oh, okay.
Because I get paranoid that I'm going to forget about something, and I also make notes on it of things that are coming up, addresses. Because man.
That's what Deb does.
Yeah.
Deb has a wall calendar that she gets, like, I think somewhere on the Cape.
Mm-hmm.
They give them out for free every year, and she grabs one, and it's like these pen and ink drawings. But yeah, everything is written on that thing. I'll take a picture the next time I'm over there and send it to you. Because, I mean, everything. When Jake is working, when I'm working, or if I have a day off, if I'm spending time with PK for whatever reason, she's got that on her calendar. Like, it is a forensic investigator's
She's tracking my
dream.
period.
Like, every tournament she's in, every phone number of every, like, if she has a doctor's appointment, she puts the phone number of the doctor, like, in the calendar.
I'm not that good, but I will put a name, a doctor's name.
I do that
sometimes an address. I'll put, like, the, you know.
I use my phone calendar a lot. I've really transitioned.
Terrible with my phone calendar.
Part of what really pushed me into getting better at my phone calendar was COVID.
Yeah.
Because I was so overwhelmed by wearing a mask on my face everywhere I went that I was like, I can just carry my keys and my phone and my wallet.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
and so, like, I was like, fuck it. I'm not
Yeah.
dealing with anything else. Don't
No
give
other
me a
factors.
fucking card.
No chapstick. No nothing.
Yeah, and that has made me much better at using my... And then I set up the widget on my phone so that it has, like, a little banner.
Oh, yeah, like, upcoming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like I put, like, that we're recording is on there, and, like, everything, for the most part.
Yeah.
So I try to just keep it there, because it's not synced to my work calendar. Not that I really put anything on there anyway.
Yeah, I don't really. Maybe I'll try and be better about... I really like having a planner, because I also, like, will make notes of things, lists.
Oh, it's super handy. I've just gotten much more, especially with this, now that we have, like, shared notes and I'm doing a lot with our social medias. It's way easier to have a note with things pre-typed.
Yeah.
That we use all the time, like hashtags or captions or whatever. To have that on my phone ready to go rather than having to retype it every time.
Yeah. There was some categorization on ADD Mag, or Attitude. They broke procrastination into different types. So I know I tend to, like we were saying, you know, when I'm feeling anxious about something, I then procrastinate, and then I think there's actually a lot of overlap. I don't think most procrastination is just one of these things. I think a lot of it is, like, multi-factor. But they said that there's the emotionally exhausted type, where you just have fears, worries, anxieties, unrelated things going on, whatever, preventing you from starting.
I take Lexapro for that.
That's what one pill's for. The dopamine desirer, they call this one, where you need, like, a jolt to get going. A spark, thrill, like, you can't do your work until you do something fun to, like, get you going, and then you can do your work. So, let me just do this, and then I'll take care of that.
I can't do that. I tell myself that, and then I'm just on a, like, water slide of fun things.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever really been that type of... I wasn't doing fun things. I was just avoiding it.
I'm better at, especially now, saying, like, basically holding the fun thing hostage.
Yes.
Like, I can do the fun thing.
Punishing myself.
Yeah, after I finish this.
Yes. They said there's focus finder. Like, you need a clear picture to be able to do it. Or you need a bigger picture, you know, context to be able to do it. Somebody who's deadline driven, so can't work unless you're under pressure. What was it? Deadline
I'm
motivated?
deadline oriented.
A perfectionist, like, you can't do things.
I used to think I was a perfectionist, but it turns out no.
It turns out I'm not a... What's the opposite of a perfectionist?
I think I was billing my procrastination as perfectionism.
Yeah.
When it wasn't really that. It was the, like, I need a deadline
to
get it done. And then, like, perfectionism for me is, like, I'm blowing hot air. if I'm like, I just need it to be perfect. Like, very rarely am I like, this has to be absolutely perfect. Because I am fully, for whatever reason, I'm so on board with all my faults.
Just really embrace myself.
Man, are my faults the best. Just ask me.
Just ask me. I'm an expert. I'm 3 kinds of doctor. Words, curing ADHD, and what was the other one? My faults.
Remembering stuff from
Memory.
35 seconds ago.
So speaking of working memory, my shelf is very short. And the last one they mentioned was the overwhelmed one. Like, too many options, you're too overwhelmed. And I very much feel like I'm all of those. Well, not all of them, but multiples of those. Like my routine to set myself up for success when I have to like buckle down and focus, I have to like clean so that my space is clear so that I feel like I can focus, because if there's clutter, I get stressed and I can't focus. I have to take care of any like little quick things so that I don't have stuff bouncing around in my head that I need to remember to do that take 2 seconds. So all those little tiny tasks get done. I have to get myself a sweater or something, a blanket in case I'm cold, a hot drink, a cold drink, a snack.
Jesus Christ, it's like taking care of a Furby.
Yes. A notepad and a pen. It's exhausting. It's like I need to make it so that I have no excuse to be distracted.
Realistically,
my physical needs are met. Like, I have nothing going on around me. There's no external.
Like, I'm teasing you, but I'm the same way. It's just that I have all of those things out 100% of the time at my desk. I have a fan on top of my desk. I have a space heater below my desk.
Right. Yeah.
I always have my jacket on or nearby.
Yep.
I've got pens everywhere.
Yep.
I have a spiral notebook that I take all of my notes in for work.
Yep.
That my boss has made fun of me for.
Yep.
Instead of using a legal notepad. But it's way easier for me to flip back and forth between cases if I need to refer to something that I already did. And I don't have to have a hot drink or a cold drink, but I do like to know that my water bottle is full.
Oh, it has to be full.
Yeah.
I have to have a full. I actually, really, ideally, I'm washing everything before I'm using it. So I'm like, it's clean, it's full, it's cold, it's red. I mean, it's absurd. It's totally absurd. And I mean, they do talk about, too, like, finding the right combination of, it's not so much these little external things and all of these little reasons, you're overwhelmed or there's too many options or this or this. It's really the right combination of, like, I got enough sleep last night, I've had something to eat, I've scheduled things and spaced them out so that I'm not cramming at the last minute, or I'm medicated, or...
Sleeping is so big for me. If I don't get enough sleep, I am a world-class bitch.
It's awful. My brain 100% doesn't function. And I think also the right combination of activities. Like, if I'm hyper-focusing and not moving and working for 4 hours straight and not picking my head up, leaving and going outside and getting some fresh air and, like, moving around a little bit is, like, a nice little system reset. And then I can go back in, I can do another spurt of focus of whatever I'm working on. But it's a process. It's one of those, that tweet where it's like, I'm not high maintenance, I say as I do, and it's like a list of all these things. And that is definitely me. I have a whole little routine that I do. I almost, and this is going to sound stupid, I almost wish that I wore glasses, because I feel like that would be another component of, like, focusing.
Now I'm working.
Yes. Yeah. Work hats on, like that. I mean, it's really raw dogging.
To what extent do you think you you developed those tactics because you were not diagnosed in childhood?
Oh, yeah, totally. Like, I mean, I was talking to my therapist about this, like, a couple weeks ago, because I've just been in this, like, ADHD space now for a bit. and I'm so aware.
Your therapist will be really, mine too, when we move on to other topics.
I'm like, oh, thank God.
Podcast.
Man,
Jesus
she's been
Christ.
stuck on that.
Would you tell me about a fucking murder? Oh my God.
Tell me about something else. What is there seasonal depression coming up? Because it's got to be. Is the sun going? Are we losing sunlight yet?
God, I love when we lose sunlight. I know you hate it.
Oh,
I was
God, just the
built
thought
to
of it.
hibernate.
Oh my God. I just thought about the 4 p.m. darkness and a piece of my soul died.
It's so funny that like I'm best friends with you and I'm dating PK and both of you hate the winter.
Hate it. I don't mind
love
cold
it.
weather. I mean, I love
the
winter
cold.
activities.
I love the dark.
It's the lack of vitamin D. It really is a real bummer.
I love it because I can go out for a walk at lunch and I'm not doused in sweat.
See, my problem,
I'm not filthy afterwards.
If I have a coat on, then I start sweating under my coat, and then I get hot because now I have a coat on and I can't cool off.
Yeah, I like
spring
going
and
on
fall.
without a coat on, or like just a fleece or something.
Yeah.
And I also like that I can go out with something that has pockets on it.
Yes.
To hold my phone.
I will give you that one. That is a benefit.
Which is also a benefit to cooler weather.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like it all.
I also get excited when it's really hot to go for a walk and just like sweat my whole ass off.
I only like that if I can, like, if I'm not working.
After.
Yeah, like,
yes.
And it's like, yeah, that was a good workout. Thanks, endorphins.
Yep.
Let's go.
Another thing that has helped with ADHD.
Yeah.
Going for walks.
Just,
help.
You don't have to kill yourself, guys.
Oh, yeah,
like, we'll discuss when we talk about, like, diet culture and stuff. But, like, you don't have to annihilate your body every time you go to
Moderation
exercise.
is really something.
Just take a walk. Just move your body. Go sit on the floor and stretch for 20 minutes. Yep. That isn't a workout, guys. That's a workout.
Sometimes to get myself... Actually, I do it a lot in the wintertime when I cannot work up the motivation to really go out and go for a walk or exercise. And, I just want to lay in a pit of despair on the floor that season.
Stretching is so nice. Like, stretching makes me feel so good.
Yep.
Especially in the winter when it's like, when it's fucking horrible out. Like, if there's an ice storm, I'm not out there like Buddy the Elf making snow angels. But, like, yeah, if it's perilous outside, I'm not, like, running around. But being able to stretch, it's like that... the release of the lactic acid in your joints. It's so nice.
Just getting a little, like, movement in makes me feel better. I just never want to do it when I should. I've
been thinking, actually, of just, like, popping into one of those conference rooms on my lunch break and doing stretches when it's really hot out and disgusting.
Yeah, I've tried doing them at my desk, and it's hard.
I don't want to do them at my desk.
Yeah.
I can't.
It's weird. No, it's weird. It's a weird thing to do at your desk.
I know I'm just going to, like, pop in my headphones and, like, bend in half and then...
Can I tell you what I thought you were going to say?
No. I mean, yes.
So I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I'll keep it to myself.
I thought you meant, do you know what I was going to say? Or do you know what I thought or whatever?
I thought you were going to say that you would put in your headphones and bend over to stretch and fart and not know it.
I hope I would know if I fart. I don't put too many other things in my butthole.
I really keep that to a
minimum. I keep very limited treasures in there.
Very limited. It's a very specific pocket.
It's a very secure safe deposit box, though. 10 out of 10 recommend.
I mean, I would also hope that I would know if I did, but, every now and then. I mean, I know if I farted at the gym, I would just have to find a new gym. I would just have to leave.
I mean, it's like
Nice knowing you. Gotta go walk into the ocean
It's one thing to, like... I guess it's more like, not that a fart would, like, accidentally slip out, but, like, the idea that I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna fart, but it'll be quiet, and then it just being, like, echoing mammoth fart.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Singed eyebrows across the office.
The secret is you have to have a pet to blame it on. So
I just have two plants at my desk.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it would be kind of hard at work. In my personal life, I blame it on a dog.
Since I don't sit where I used to sit. There was more people to blame it on back then.
Oh, that's true. There were more people. Yeah, I guess now you just kind of have to own it.
Yeah. Although there's nobody really near me, so I can get away with it as long as other people are involved in their own shit.
Literal. Metaphorical. So I think ultimately being medicated probably helps. Being unmedicated, we're in this together. Struggling, floundering. But remember, it's not what you know, it's executing on it. It is a performance issue, procrastination. It's not a knowledge issue. You
so
know
just
the
take
things.
a Viagra.
It's just, that fixes it, right? Viagra isn't that the medication?
Dr. Katie tuned in.
She's back. Offering more snap diagnoses. What's going on? Oh, I think...
If my dad ever listens to this, he'll be like, thank God you didn't try to become a doctor, because
dodge that bullet. So don't forget that it is not you. You know the things, it's just doing the things.
So what do you think is the best way to get around your poor planning?
I mean, I think doing...
Or poor time management, sorry.
Doing some... I don't know, kind of getting in your head a little bit and figuring out what helps make you more successful. Like, I know if I go for a walk, if I go to the gym, if I have something to eat, taking a shower, things like that, having a cup of coffee, having a cup of tea. There's certain things that I think really help me kind of buckle down, especially as someone who's not medicated. I think finding out that right combination, medicating if that's what is effective for you. And I mean, I live and die by to-do lists and timers.
I was gonna say, will you, I don't know, follow through or believe it if you set a time limit for yourself that's like arbitrary and very artificial? Like, I have to clean the house in 45 minutes, even though I know I have the rest of the day to actually get it done.
So I'm a little bit, I'm only giving myself deadlines like that when I have to. I try and also, the other thing that I do is I try and build in time every day and really on like a weekly basis also of time where I'm letting my brain rest. So for me, cleaning is a way for my brain to rest. I'm like doing something that I don't really need to think about, and I can just, if I'm, like you were saying, I do the same thing where I'm like putting something down and just picking something else up, and it is a nightmare.
Yeah,
Nothing
ever gets actually finished.
I do wrap it up at the end. I do eventually come in, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I was doing this, and then I was going to do this, and then I can take care of those two things, and something else pulls me in a different direction. I do regroup with those, and that's time that I allow myself, my brain to just flow, and I'm not trying to direct traffic. I'm just like letting it go. But I do make sure that when I have to be on a time frame, the other thing that both of us will do, because we both have this issue.
By both, she means her and her spouse.
Yes. Just to be clear. I will do time check-ins. Hey, we have to leave at 2:30 and it's 2:00, so we have to leave in 30 minutes. And I wait until I get a verbal confirmation. Okay, cool. Hey, it's 2:15 because I am too anxious about being late, like late. Don't get me wrong, I am late sometimes. More often than not, I am squeaking in at exactly the moment I need to. I'm never more than like 5 minutes off.
Yeah, if I'm significantly late, it's truly outside of my control, like traffic or...
Oh, yeah, totally. But I think for me, it's definitely anxiety dictating. No, you can't be late to this. You have to leave on time.
It's pretty dope that where we live, we're like basically 30 minutes from everything.
Yes, which is thank God, because otherwise. And I'm frequently trying to cut it down to 15. I wonder if I can just get away with leaving it this time instead of this time.
Oh, PK will try that. And I'm like, no, we're leaving now.
Because I'm building in extra time.
Well, because also, like, I build in the time that it takes for me to get to my car from my apartment.
Me too.
Which, like, I'm only in the second floor, but still, it's like...
Walking out is enough, yeah.
Yeah, like, getting my shit together, walking out, locking up, getting out the door. And if my car is parked in the garage, then it's, like, getting out the back, opening the garage.
Oh, yeah.
Getting in the car, closing the garage, because it's manual.
I know... when I think about procrastination, because I don't, it's not quite as disruptive to me. I wouldn't say I fully procrastinate. I'd say maybe sometimes my time management isn't great, but it's really something that I'm very harsh with myself managing it. When I was a kid, I want to say I was in like 4th grade. And when you're like that age, your teacher will be like, all right, we're doing a unit on this, so you're just going to have to write this paper or do this poster on this random, I had coyotes. I had to do a coyote project. And I think we started it, and I say we, my mom and I, because, I was 9, and I certainly was not starting things ahead of time when I was 9. Started the night before and stayed up extremely late finishing this whole, and don't get me wrong, the poster came out amazing. It was great. Did we stay up till the butt crack of dawn practically to finish it? Yes, we did. And then it would be this whole conversation about how I can't procrastinate, but here we are. It's been
my brother lived with that a lot.
20
He was
years.
real bad at procrastinating.
Yeah. It was awful.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we would have like a paper assigned, even in high school, a paper assigned, and they'd be like, hey, you should be this far through your rough draft. And I would do like packing up at the end of class, and I'd be like, okay.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where I'm like, that's what makes me so frustrated about the late diagnosis and the late medication.
Oh, for sure.
Because I did that all through high school, especially in my AP classes, where it was very, like, freely led, like, read this chapter, there was only 2 tests, like, it was very much kind of like college in that sense, and then you had your AP exam, and then the Regents exam, so, like, and really the goal was the AP exam, because if you did well in AP, the state test was it was no problem, and so, yeah, I mean, like, every once in a while we'd have these quizzes, and I was like, what the fuck, a quiz? Holy shit. And then in college, but, like, I did fine. Like, I graduated with honors. I had straight A's in high school. Like, so it was only until I got to law school where I was like, whoa. Man, I had to actually read it, like, right now.
That was,
that wasn't a suggestion.
Yeah. Like, that was my downfall. I think in school in general, when you got reading assigned to you. I love reading, but because my focus is so bad, especially as a kid, by the end of the school day, I was exhausted.
Yes.
Trying to focus all day. So if I had to do homework, if you wanted me to read 3 chapters of a book, I am sorry to every teacher I have ever had. I never did it. Never once. Yeah. Never did the reading, no matter how much I liked the story.
Especially when it was, like, self-reported.
Oh,
like, did you have to do, like, the reading charts where, oh, yes, I definitely read 20 minutes a night, or whatever like that?
I actually got called out one time by a student teacher for not having read the material. She opens class, she's like, hey, Garrett, why don't you tell us what this chapter was about? And I had gotten I had secondhand, what was it? It wasn't Cliff Notes. There was that website that had, like, the summaries. It might have been Cliff Notes. That had the summaries of, like, all the books. It would go chapter by chapter and give a summary.
What grade was this in?
I don't know. It was probably, like, a sophomore or junior in high school.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I was picturing, like, 3rd grade Garrett.
Oh, no.
I was like, no, I didn't have that. Fuck.
What was the internet? And she's like, can you summarize this chapter? And I was like, yeah, it was this and then this. Like, I had literally gotten this information secondhand 5 minutes before class started. She looks me dead in my face. She goes, you didn't read it, did you? And I went, no. Like, didn't miss a beat. Just, nope, didn't read it. But when I was in, like, I might have been, like, 2nd grade, they would give us, and this is wild to me to think about now, because I'm like, oh, of course I wasn't successful with this. At the beginning of the month, you would get a calendar of the month, and there was a task you were supposed to do on every day. And it didn't matter what day you did it, you just had to do all of them by the end of the month. And sometimes it was like, go for a 5-minute walk outside, or it would give you a science experiment to do, or, read for X amount of time, or read this number of books, or whatever. For a 2nd grader, you're asking for a month's worth of time management from a 7-year-old.
Yeah, that's...
On top of, like, whatever homework we were being given.
I'll be honest, I'd struggle with that right now as a 34-and-a-half-year-old.
Correct. And I remember my mom kind of going at the teacher like, this is not, they're 7. This isn't an effective, has this been effective for you? Was kind of like, in your experience, has this been a good idea? A really nice way of being like, this is a fucking stupid plan.
Yeah.
She probably continued to do it, I'm sure, until she retired. It was terrible for me. I remember waiting until like the last like week, and then it was like a panic, and I'm like, I gotta do what?
Oh, every fucking time. In 6th grade, Miss Quattrochi made us do, we had to keep nature journals, I think is what she called them. And we had to sit outside and experience nature. And to her credit, she was like an extreme environmentalist for 2000 in New York. Like, she had us writing letters to all local restaurants to get them to switch from styrofoam to like renewable or recyclable takeout containers and stuff like that. Which, like, yeah, like looking back, you're like, oh, okay, so she was like super ahead of her time and like very kind of on the ball. But at the other end of things, she had us do these fucking nature journals, and to the, like, in the way that she was trying to get us to like go outside and like explore the world, like don't just sit in front of a TV screen all day, which is, I'm sure, really where this was coming from for her.
Correct. Yeah.
We had like a composition notebook, and the square in the corner where like the red line like made that square in the corner, we had to fill that in with the cloud cover and like draw what the fucking sky looked like on these goddamn nature walks. Oh. And I'm like, lady, it's like September 20th. There's like a cloud, and then like we'd get graded on that, and she's like, this wasn't detailed enough.
There was no clouds.
My girl, I'm not Da Vinci. Like, do you want, like, oh, I'm sitting out here, and we had to sit outside for however long and write a full page about what we experienced in nature, and I'm sitting in my mom's backyard in suburbia.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I hear cars going by, and there's the ice cream man, and yep, I hear some birds. Can't see them, don't know what kind of bird it is. Yep, a bug touched me, so I'm done with this. Goodbye. like, absolutely not. But it was the same thing, because we'd have to have however many we had to have each month or each week or whatever. And I'd do them all at the last minute. And then I'd, like, change the fucking cloud cover box so that it matched whatever the weather was that day. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you, lady. Like, this is ridiculous. I hate it. You're not, like, it's one thing to be like, okay, go outside and, like, go for a walk and find a leaf that you think is really interesting or whatever.
Mondays are red. Find something that's red outside.
Yes. Something like that. Like, but there was no goal. So for me, I was just like, I'm not connecting with this task.
Yes.
Which goes back to that, like, emotional thing. Like, you have the feelings, and, like, for me, if I have no dopamine response, basically, I get no satisfaction out of it.
I don't want to do it.
Then, yeah, like, oh, fine. Like, this sucks. I'm doing it, but, like, ugh.
Could I have bamboo shoots put under my fingernails instead of doing this, because I don't wanna?
Totally.
That was me as a student, for sure. I also feel like the time period that we were going to school, like, it was not a understanding. I know there's this concept that all millennials have, like, participation trophies. I have none, just as a starter. Second point being, my teachers were not the sweetest, especially, like, elementary school. My teachers were, like, all in their 60s and weren't with the bullshit. So
yeah, let me be clear. Giving children a ribbon for completing a 1-mile fun run is not a participation trophy.
Yeah.
That is trying to get people excited, get little people excited about running or walking or racing or competition. And what I would do is say,
I didn't really do anything. I just did this walk. So anybody who got them knew, it wasn't because I did well. It's because I showed up.
Nobody was fucking proud of those. Yeah. Like, the people who were proud of them were their dipshit parents.
Yes.
Who put those on the shelf as if they were a real prize.
Yes.
And let's be real, it is not a millennial thing. It is, like, the people immediately after us.
It's not us, it's the other guys.
It's the people who had babies in the 90s. Like, like middle 90s, like
Yeah.
those people whose kids started school right after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Those people wanted the participation trophies. Every millennial I've talked to is like, if I'm not the best, then I don't know why I'm here.
Yes.
If I can't be the best, then it's not worth it. That's what we were taught.
Yes. If I can't make money,
Ah!
which guess what? We'll never make money.
We'll never make money.
So yeah, we're doing great. Thanks for asking.
It's super great. I'm on 5 milligrams of Lexapro.
Killing it. I'm still
Soup's helpful.
unmedicated and just grimacing through it all.
You're not totally unmedicated.
There's like a little bit of self-medication. So that was today's episode on procrastination, which I will say probably any of my traumatic childhood memories stem from procrastinating in some fashion.
For sure.
And getting myself in trouble, even though I was not a troublemaker.
I'll call it professional hindsight cringe, but I'm including my college experience. It has to do with procrastination and how much, because it's irritating that I know I would have done so much better. I would have gotten more scholarships. I would have gotten more prestigious jobs right out of law school if I could have just handled it or had this medication to like help me focus so that I could read the fucking cases. Or,
yeah, my thought process was like, you procrastinate, you're not smart, you can't be successful doing something like real and big.
Yeah.
Because you can't get your shit together.
Yeah, I would argue that people with ADHD really, I think, struggle with negative self-talk more than the average.
Oh, it's horrible.
Neurotypical person.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we are so much harder on ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's definitely not a perfectionism. Like, I don't expect perfection from myself. I'm like, and I think minimum competency would be great.
That's where the self-hate comes in, because it's like, I can't even do X. I'm such a loser. I can't even clean the dishes.
Yes.
When I'm supposed to.
Yes. What kind of adult am I that I can't even do this? Oh, 100%. And I definitely, I think it's limited me in some fashions because I am just constantly, even now, I have to really like unpack it and walk it back.
Yes.
There was one day I was in therapy having one of those days where I was just like, really enjoying shitting on myself.
Yeah.
And my therapist was like, wow, that was really harsh. I was like, oh yeah. I'm excellent at that.
So you agree. I'm right.
So what you're saying is I'm horrible. I knew it.
Cognitive behavioral therapy is extremely important.
And hard.
And hard,
it's
yes.
Hard.
But it is very helpful, if only for a sounding board. Just to like talk things through, to be like, I feel like I'm crazy.
I'm not crazy. She's crazy. I'm not crazy. She's crazy.
Plot twist, I'm both me and she.
Yes. They're both me. Talking to myself.
Yeah. It's rough. It's I do have to talk myself off the ledge. I had a day like that like earlier this week, actually, where I was just like, I'm disgusting. I should just eat whatever I want because I'm gross. It doesn't matter. PK's gonna hate it, but he says he's fine, blah, blah, blah. And like, I get
lying to me. Everybody's lying to me.
Right. And I get to the end of the day and I was like, that was a bad day.
I don't know why I'm in such a bad mood.
Holy moly. What a sourpuss.
Why am I so tired? I hate today.
I'll tell ya, Jem.
And then you eat something and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
I was hungry and I need to go to bed.
Yes. When, I woke up the next day and I was like, let's not do that so much today. Let's just...
It's that same thing where they're talking about thinking every day, I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z. It's your intention deficit disorder.
Yes. Yeah. So that'll do it for us this week.
Yes. Thank you for tuning into another episode. You will hear from us again next week. We're going to be talking about some impulsivity.
Woo woo.
Talk about some emotional dysregulation. And we've got some more episodes coming up. Also in this ADHD series that we're doing. And don't forget to contact us. If there's something you want to hear, something you want us to cover, let us know.
Yes, email us those ideas at thebarisanklehigh@gmail.com. And you can also check out our website. There's a submission form on there and a bunch of other information about us and the podcast and other places you can find us, thebarisanklehigh.com.
Thank you so much for tuning in again, and we will see you next week.
Bye! Thanks for tuning in. We'll be here next Thursday with a brand new episode to delight your brain juices. Until then, the best way to support us is to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and like and subscribe wherever you listen. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Bar is Ankle High. And if you want to help us grow the podcast even more, you can subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/thebarisAnkleHigh. Patreons get exclusive Patreon-only episodes, monthly horoscopes written by yours truly, and access to our secret members-only Facebook group, as well as added to our close friends list on Instagram. We have a lot of fun over there, and we would love for you to join us. Until next week, remember to be kind to yourself because the bar is ankle high.